Install Updraft Backup or Updraft Plus so that we can regularly back up our database and files, or generally have a backup of our site. Now, after configuring and installing it, we go to the plugins. We safely install the Updraft Plus plugin securely to your site. When it's installed, it shows us the Updraft support in the settings section. The first part is backup, which tells us, hey, I can take a backup for you right now. And it also displays the ones that have been taken so far. The next tab is migration, which we don't deal with. And in the settings section, it asks, do you want to back up the files manually or do you want to schedule it? It says, I want to set my backup schedule to every 2 hours, meaning it will back up my files every 2 hours. Or I can set it to daily or weekly. Usually we set the files to back up twice a week. This means it backs up twice this week and then twice for the next week. Now regarding the database, it asks, how should I back up my database for you? If your site is an e-commerce, educational, corporate, or news site where data is added daily, we need to say, please back up for us every day. What day? Or if the data is that important, every 1 or 2 hours. If it increases, then we define it based on the hour. But we usually say, make sure to take one backup for me every day until the 20th. Now, the next part comes and asks, where should I back it up for you? It has a storage wallet feature that you need to purchase in the premium version, meaning it's not available in the cracked version. Because it's online, you should aim to take a backup, meaning you need to purchase that premium version and specify your storage size. It asks, should I back it up on your FTP, meaning on your own files or on other options like Dropbox or others? We usually define it on our own FTP and say, take it on our own files. Now the next part comes and asks, if you're telling me to back up your files, which files should I back up? Should I back up everything? You say plugins, themes, and uploads. It says, look, you can also exclude and I won't back up from the backup folder. Yeah. For instance, sometimes I say I don't care about uploads, so I don't want to back up the uploads either, and I uncheck that part. I select that it should not back up my uploads. That means the rest is just the shell for me. What matters to me are the templates I have. It means just take the templates for me, and here we choose what should happen to them. It says now I can, for example, encrypt it, which is available in the premium version that we don't need. It asks if you want to send a report every time I receive one, to send an email to the email you have on the site or not. These are generally the settings that I need. And since each of these is backed up, it goes into the backup section for me. If I want to see it on my host in the WP content section, a folder named Updraft will be added for me. It places my backups here for me. One thing you need to note is that your site might be large and your host might not have much more space than what you have, meaning there might not be any free space. We always need to make sure that our space reaches the point of taking backups. If there's no space for backups, we should consider our hosting or come to this section and, for example, if my upload file is large and I don't need it to be backed up, I can choose not to back up my uploads. Or if I only need my database backed up, I should be mindful of the space I'm using. Hello guys, today we are going to learn about Rank Math together. Rank Math is a plugin for SEO that helps improve your site's ranking. This means that when we use Rank Math, we can utilize a series of techniques and elements that we need for our techniques. Rank Math also has a set of tools that act as a guide, telling us, for example, how much to set our meta tags, how much to set our title, how much to set our description, and how to choose keywords. It gives a score based on these. and these themselves help us see what is happening on our site. But the idea that I can optimize my website solely with just one plugin is almost impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible or that it's only with this plugin. You might be in a niche without competitors and rise up with just these actions, but in specialized niches and areas with many competitors, just one plugin cannot accomplish this. And Rank Math is also offered in two versions. The regular Rank Math, which is free and can be downloaded from the repository, and Rank Math Pro, which needs to be purchased. We will provide you with the link to the Pro version so you can download it. To install the regular or standard version of Rank Math, we go to Plugins, Add New, and Install Rank Math. Now, we have already installed it, so we just search to see what Rank Math looks like. This is the Rank Math that we are going to install. It has a good rating, and let me give you a tip when installing plugins. When we know we are installing Rank Math, but when we are looking for a type of plugin, without having a specific one in mind, we just search to find it. A few factors can help us choose among several similar plugins that perform the same task. The number of installations the plugin has, the rating it has received, and the number of people who have rated it. So, additionally, it should be compatible with our WordPress, which naturally should be the case, and we should check when its last update was. The closer the last update is, it indicates that the plugin is being maintained and is reliable. Now, we have installed Rank Math, and it is added to the right-hand menu, offering several options. We will review a few of them together, because many of its features do not directly relate to the site's design, and many are back-end. However, to get familiar with it, this will help you become familiar with its tools. A series of items that you can have at your disposal, such as the 404 monitor, which lets you see which pages are returning a 404 error, allowing you to manage those 404 pages. It connects with ACF, which is a plugin that lets us create custom fields, and AMP, which is related to Google concerning analytics, bbPress or BuddyPress if we have a form. It has a tool called Connect AI that connects to an API and suggests keywords or content for you for optimizing images or indexing and counting links. It provides options for local SEO and various features that we can activate as needed. For example, we should activate the 404 monitor, and these add-ons are in the dashboard and we can add it. The next item is Connect AI, which after connecting to an API can analyze the website using tools like Google Analytics and Search Console. Let's go to its settings, which include general settings. It provides us with various options such as link settings, for example, to remove the category title from the category page. The discussion includes redirecting certain items, making external links no follow, or making images no follow, or when opening a new link, it opens in a new tab. The breadcrumb discussion, or those page addresses that tell you which page you are on when you open any page, has a good SEO advantage. It provides you with both shortcodes and functions that you can use within your site. Now, regarding the display type itself, how the breadcrumb itself should appear, like settings from this section, is provided to you. Now, the discussion on Webmaster Tools, where you can connect to Search Console or other items, includes settings related to CMS or RSS in these matters, and the topic of editing the robots.txt or .htaccess, which allows you to make some changes according to your needs. The discussion on blocking or the table of contents, which generates a list of my content for me, means when I write an article, it creates a table of contents for me. Here we can now set what the title should be or choose its style and tell it with which titles. We should consider this for our table of contents. It has a series of features based on WooCommerce itself that we can implement under the name MITRE 404, which we have now added, and some under the name Analytics. It can also make some changes in your titles and meta tags, such as how the robot. Meta should be on all pages. Again, on every page we open, this option appears for me. The discussion is about titles, like how the titles should be displayed, whether they should be in uppercase or lowercase. Each of these should be edited based on your needs, guys. And it's not that we say this setting must be done. It is chosen based on the needs of each website for SEO. The topic of local SEO and social networks is also considered. For the homepage itself, what actions you can take, it says you should go back and edit. The discussion is about authors, where you can no-index the author page. The discussion is about the pages that exist and the titles that can be displayed. It brings up the posts for us. How the schema should be structured, if you want to change the schema, or the headlines, or how the descriptions should be. And it provides all these settings for us. We need to use them based on our SEO needs, one by one. It also has a redirect feature that we can use. If you look here, it's not active for us right now. So what is the topic of redirects? It's when I have a page, and for any reason I want to delete this page or change its URL, I need to tell Google that this page has been moved to another page, and this concept is called a redirect. Let's go to the dashboard section and add the add-on we need for the redirect. Redirection, redirection, redirection. And now that redirect process is being added for me. For example, I need that whenever I type test, it redirects back to my main page. I created a URL named test, which currently says not found. I want to say, okay, I want to create a new redirect for my test. So that anyone who types the word test, meaning the URL, it should automatically redirect to my main page. Now here it tells me, okay, what type of redirect is it? For example, how is the redirect always temporary? Meaning, what is its main transfer code like? This depends on the type of redirect you are going to set up. And when I set this up, it will redirect this page for me. Meaning, whenever someone opens this page, they will be transferred to my main page. Do you see? This is the discussion about that redirection and the subsequent topics, which are the general settings that need to be reviewed according to your needs when we install Rank Math. On every page, whether it's a blog post or a product, an option is added or a Rank Math feature where I can set the title, description, keywords, and other elements to have a comprehensive overview. Each of these has its own functions which are added for me at the top, and it gives me a score. I say a score out of 100, which is 60. And it lists a series of parameters here for me, like, sir, choose your keyword. For example, I say, sir, your keyword is board process. Now it comes and tells me the scores based on this. Like, sir, for example, the focus has been on WordPress, your keywords haven't been found in the meta. And a few other things. If I improve each of these, my percentage goes higher. And I have a better chance of scoring on Google. But guys, it doesn't mean that if I just achieve this, all attributes will reach 103. And I'll come to the first link. This is essentially a tool that is helpful, and we can also set some settings related to the title and descriptions it has. For the discussion of social networks, it's the same way, like how it should be displayed for us, on Facebook or Twitter, and a few other tools it provides, such as the discussion of whether my page should be indexed or not. Additionally, it was about how the schema of my page should be and how its visibility should be displayed, and Rank Math is there to assist my SEO tools. I emphasize that it is not solely a tool for SEO on my website, it is merely an aid. However, certainly when you work on it and increase its score, you can significantly improve your SEO process. Tinanami, stay with us. That means 2 applications, and the fourth is that I can take a backup from my site and use it on another site. Now, I'm just giving an example. I also want to switch my hosting from one provider to another. I take a backup of my site and install it there. Now, what's the difference between this and the draft backup? The draft backup is taken so that I have a version of a backup that I can restore whenever my site encounters an issue. But the 2 applications are for when I want to migrate from one host to another, or from one domain to another. Because guys, WordPress itself stores its data with the domain inside the database, meaning that if I change my site's address and move my site, certainly some of my data won't come over and won't be displayed. That's why when I want to perform a migration from one domain to a new place, I need to use Duplicator. The advantage of Duplicator is that it provides me with a version of this installation, which makes the import process easier for me. Guys, it has both a free version and a premium one. And usually, the free version suffices for our needs, depending on the size of our website. Now, we will also provide you with the premium version so you can use it. I search for Duplicator and install it from the destination. I want to duplicate from this site, for example, move it from the WP Plus folder to the Plus folder, or for instance, WP. I also want to change the address, or even change the host. I activate this as well. In the settings, at the bottom of the Duplicator settings, it shows me the Duplicator itself. I click on it to come into the package. Here, it gives me the option to take a backup of my site and create a package. We click on Create New. It asks me to name the file, which we usually leave as it is. Here we can choose whether we want all our files or just our database, depending on our needs. And there's a part of this installer that says, for example, I can put a password on this installer file, meaning I can protect it with a password. Or it asks how you want to transfer your resulting information. I click Next and it only performs the initial settings. Then it scans my site to see how large it is, what its size is, and a series of other details. I should mention that it gives me scores, saying that my volume is slightly above the limit. However, it doesn't restrict me, but it does say that it's more than the version I have. Usually, for example, a volume of 400, 500 is considered okay for it. But if it exceeds that, we might need to use the premium version. The performance of the applicator also heavily depends on the host resources, and if my resources are limited, it can't perform very well. Now, we move on to the next part, where it will create the installer and package your file for us so that we can transfer it. When the team creates the packages for me, they provide me with an installer file and an archive file. In this archive, they have compressed and included my site's data, and the installer file contains the data I need to perform the installation. The difference is that if I want to manually take a backup, I don't have this installer file and would have to do everything manually. But now, they provide me with an installer and an archive file. Now we want to install this on a new host or a new domain. So I come to my host and I was in the WP Plus folder. I want to create a new folder, for example, named WordPress. Or it could be a new host or a new domain for me. When I go to that new host, I will upload both my files and the installer. Also upload the zip file that was given to me. This is the installation method for this Duplicator installer, which is exactly the same process we have for the templates we purchase. Because when we buy a template, it gives us an installer file and a zip file, which is called Easy Installer. But that too is created with Duplicator itself. However, if we learn how to install Duplicator itself, we will also learn how to install ready-made templates. We let the file upload completely. Okay guys, sometimes it gives an error, but it has uploaded completely. But now it has given a full error, so we ask it to upload for us again. It couldn't upload. After the file is uploaded, guys, we need to go to the address. Now I want to install this again on a new site. It has an installer file. I need to open this installer and it starts to open. Then, after some processes, it asks for the database credentials. So we need to create a new database for ourselves. We have done this once before for installing WordPress. For this installation, we use the same method, ISA, with the duplicator. We assign a name to the database. For example, we write WordPress dupe, which we got from the duplicator. We create the database itself. So the database becomes WordPress dupe. We also create the user we need and generate a password for it. We place our password in this section of passwords and our user is the same. Well, once we generate this, guys, we need to consider something. I create this meaning and it also creates the user for me. Now, I need to connect the WordPress installations with the database and the user together. Once I have done this, I check all the boxes and place the change in the user section and the name we set. Guys, we have the WordPress doc that we want to place and this prefix here needs to be copied. It means that not only the name we set is important, but the entire name must be copied. Here, we perform a validation. He says, "Sir, I read the data beast, and here it gives us some errors, but the warnings aren't very important. We come here, accept its rules, and move to the next step. Now it tells us the data and starts extracting that zip file and proceeds to install the board process and the data beast. And it changes the addresses for us, meaning if we came from HTML plus data R and plus to WordPress, it has changed all the users for us. In this part, we also log into the website, and now here, for example, because we need to come and hit the HTML admin, there's a topic here, WP hide login that we use. How does it work? It works through HTML access. And because we duplicated the sites, HTML access doesn't work. That's why we need to do something first. Let's go to the plugins and deactivate our WP hide login. Now, to deactivate it, you just need to add a number or a letter in front of it, and it will automatically deactivate. Then I will come back to this section and hit WP admin again. And I log into the WordPress panel. So, if we are using WP hide login and it's not working, we need to deactivate its plugin because it requires HD access, which is the same as the permalink settings we configured and set to a custom name or post name. We need to save this once. That WP hide login, that too, and then it works. We can go to the plugins and remove the one in front of it and then go back to the WordPress plugins to see if it's active or not. Currently, it's not active for us, and we need to activate it again. So this is the method of backup using Duplicator and moving it. And when we want to buy a theme, that theme file is in the form of an easy installer, meaning it has been taken exactly with Duplicator. And its installation is exactly like this. I need to create a database and import it. Stay with us. Well, guys, sometimes we have an online store or an educational site, or for selling courses, we need registration and login. By default, registration and login with a mobile number are not available on WordPress sites, and it's done with email. To enable registration and login with a mobile number, we need to use a plugin called Digits. Now guys, this plugin is free and we can find it. It's not in the repository. And for registration and login with a mobile number, we need to have an SMS panel. Because when the user enters their mobile number, an SMS needs to be sent for verification and identity confirmation. We need to obtain a service SMS panel. Now the panel we use is not the Kaveh Negar panel. You need to go to the Kaveh Negar website yourself and purchase an SMS panel. There are some documents required for verification that need to be completed, and eventually they will provide you with a panel. Once you have the panel, you can create a validation template. Let me show you an example. So you can see that I can define a validation template, and the SMS will be sent as a service. Because when I send an identity verification code to my users, like for example Snap or Digicala, I need it to go to all numbers. Some people have blocked promotional SMS, and if I send it as a promotional message, it won't reach my users. Therefore, I need to get a service line, and the line should be able to send service SMS. For example, if I want to log in now, after I have set it up in the panel or the SMS panel that you deemed appropriate, I can define a template. I can define a template and say, for example, I want to define a new template named, for instance, Eshtim Plus. Verify. And come here to write my content. Make sure to write that, for example, your verification code. Now guys, here, I need to send a dynamic element, meaning I can't just say 1, 2, 3, 4, certainly A. And further down, it guides me, saying you can use a token. I have a series of parameters that are dynamic and can be sent to me through the site. Let's say, for example, your verification code. Thank you. I definitely need to write my website address below. Otherwise, it won't approve it. I will input and create my validation code template. And after that, I need to install my digits plugin. Now, based on the settings that every SMS panel has, you can search on Google. For example, I type in the settings. The text message for Digites, Chaselische Kabenegar, brings its settings along with its plugin for me and says, "Sir, can you set it up like this?" Now let me open one. You can use this plugin that I have. Install the plugin up to this point and proceed with its work. Now I set the messaging system to custom, place the address I need, which was provided in the tutorial for me. I set the method to post and the template that I defined and the variable that I defined, I put its name here. And now, for example, in the phone number section, the most important part is that, sir, I only want it within Iran. I write the SMS frame sent for that and save my settings. Here I can also run a test to see if my SMS is sent or not. I have also provided you with Persian to see if the SMS I am defining is sent or not. If I have sent and configured my settings correctly, it should say here that it has been confirmed and sent. There are 3 general settings, such as what the username structure should be. You say create a phone number and you specify the structure of your mobile number, saying it should be local, meaning without entering the area code or the prefix. The topic of Mazbat 98 says I can use it in the management section so that even management can come and use this digits plugin and the admin can log into the site by entering the mobile number. We usually disable this. And it happens with the same username and password. It also asks what the user's role should be. Do I define the country code as well, or is it just for Iran? The country code is only for Iran to be able to access the website. It asks how many characters the verification code sent for identity verification should be, and we say it should be 4. We also say, for example, that it can resend the code every 120 seconds. In WooCommerce, we can activate that as well. We make the mobile number a mandatory field, and we can define a series of addresses so that after the user registers online with Digi, to which section should they be directed? We have form settings where we specify whether registration should be active or not, what items to display in the registration field, and what items to display during login. What should my skin look like? What should my appearance be? And when I activate this feature and go to my template, the login and registration will no longer be in the usual state and will switch to mobile number. You can see that the country code is only for Iran, and with the Digits plugin and any SMS service provider, you can activate your login and registration with a mobile number.